Hey, Nev.
Hey,
What's
how's
up with
it going?
what's up with the new look? You look like you're going through a midlife crisis or
Midlife
something.
crisis. We gotta see the fucking movie now, alright? I
Why?
got my leather jacket.
Why do you sound like Donald Duck?
Donald Duck, this Tom Hardy in the Bikeriders, man. He's got his stupid leather jacket and...
That's a pretty good impression, actually.
Thanks. Do you want to see the movie?
Let's go.
All right, let's go.
Welcome back to the Real Talk Podcast, episode 143. I'm your host, Nathan, and I'm joined by the man himself, Matthew Neves, to my left.
Thank you.
And today we are going to be reviewing the Bikeriders.
The Bikeriders.
The Bikeriders, one that I was excited for after watching the trailer for sure.
Same.
Judging by the box office numbers,
I mean, box
not
office-
too many people were excited.
No, it was. I felt like this was going to be like a Ferrari sort of thing where we're excited by it, but like how many people outside of us are excited for it? Because like the number one as of right now, as of our recording, is A Quiet Place.
Yeah.
It's an existing franchise. This
With like marketing up the ass. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I can't open Instagram or go anywhere without seeing an ad for A Quiet Place. So I
Yeah.
guess it's working.
It makes sense though because like this is their week to do it, and then I
Yeah.
think after this it's like Despicable Me. After this it's Deadpool and Wolverine. There's so
True.
much shit happening now that this is their little slot, and unfortunately
That
the
makes
Bike
sense.
Riders couldn't compete with it budget wise, marketing.
Yeah, it looks like $40 million budget.
Yeah.
17 million worldwide.
No,
That's not great. But you know what? Like, sure, like this kind of movie in today's day and age is like kind of set up to bomb.
Yeah.
But also, isn't Austin Butler a star? Isn't Tom Hardy a star?
yeah,
Isn't that enough?
you'd think
You'd think that that's enough. Like, this guy's high off Elvis. He's
Yeah.
like, he's still like, he became another level of actor after Elvis, I think.
yeah.
And I thought he was going to be one of these guys where people just go see his movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Tom Hardy's been famous forever.
He's been
in
famous
a-
since like fucking Nolan got him for Inception.
exactly, been in a
So-
ton of quality films.
Mhm.
So it's like you see both of them together with a cool premise like this.
Yeah.
You'd think it would do a little bit better.
We're long past the days of the movie star. I think this is kind of dying out. Like I always think of like Bruce Willis, Tom Cruise. Like people literally saw those films because of them.
Yeah.
Now it's like, no, you got to do more than that. You got to have like $50 million worth of CGI explosions, which this is not. Thank God. That's
Yeah.
why like we usually pick movies that are more lower budget, more original.
Mm-hmm.
At least try to, because like in this day and age, it's so fucking hard. Like we weren't gonna review Inside Out 2.
No.
Like there's so many existing properties that it's kind of refreshing that we got to see this one in theaters.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right. The movie star is just not the draw that it used to be, huh?
No, I think the movie that kind of officially marked it was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Mm-hmm.
because that had a big all-star cast, and I think it made a decent amount of money.
And the like one of the biggest directors.
Yeah,
Even like that's one of those rare cases where like the director should be a draw.
Yeah.
Like Tarantino is a household name, right? And it's still, yeah, the movie star is dead. It's weird, man.
yeah,
It felt like before you could just like get Harrison Ford and just like
yeah, man.
Air Force One, Harrison Ford, The Fugitive, Harrison
Yes,
Ford. It's all gonna
yes.
work. Every single one of them is gonna be a hit.
And it wasn't just like, oh, it made $100 million. No, it's one of the highest grossing films of that fucking year.
Exactly.
If the Bike Riders came out in 1995, I guarantee you
Could
this
be a
would have
smash hit.
been probably top 20 films domestic.
Yes.
But now it's going to be like hidden in under the radar because most people are like, oh no, we got to see 3 other movies that were more popular.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's our little rant of how movies have fucking changed over the years in terms of popularity and what makes something successful now.
It's a bit of a popularity contest, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard to, yeah, it's like there's not like one concrete thing you can count on now, like the cast or the director.
Yeah.
It's like, man, you don't know. Like Scorsese movies are bombing.
Yeah,
Like some of
man.
our favorite, some of
Jesus.
the most tried and true directors have bombs in the last few years.
Honestly.
And there've been good films. It's tough.
Yeah.
But the Bike Riders.
Yeah, let's get into this because I did not know that this was based on a true story, based on
Didn't know either.
interviews. I love that.
Me too. And I love the way they incorporated it, and I love the way they told the story through the perspective of what was Austin Butler's character's name?
Oh, Benny.
Benny.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Good name.
Love these names.
Yeah, good name.
These are some good ass names. So the actor who was in Challengers,
Yeah.
he's got a little scuffy mustache and everything for the '60s, but he is the person that interviews all these people to find out more about them, more
That's
about
right.
this subculture of bike riders. Kind of like an Easy Rider-esque type of thing, where it's like, what is it? The Harley Davidson, those people.
Yeah.
I blanked out on the name, but essentially these group of bike riders that were formed.
Yeah, they're
by,
like a motorcycle club.
exactly formed by Tom Hardy. His character name being Johnny. He watches a Brando film when he's like with his wife and kids, and he's like, I want to be like that.
Which was a funny little scene.
It's like the '50s equivalent of like watching Drive. Ryan Gosling's like, that's literally me. I'm gonna be Ryan Gosling and Drive, guys. I'm gonna make my fucking club, and then he makes his club, and it evolves in a way that goes a little bigger than he expects it to be. He meets up with Benny, played by Austin Butler, a few other characters along the way, and it very much feels like a Scorsese copycat in the best way.
In a very good way.
Yeah, not in a bad way. I love what they do that reminds me of a lot of Scorsese films, specifically 90s Scorsese. I'm thinking
Yes.
Casino and Goodfellas in particular.
Oh, huge, huge influence. You could just see that, like, the director must have been watching Scorsese on a loop when making this film.
Oh, yeah.
Because it shows it just in the way the story's presented, again through like Benny's wife.
Yes.
And then narration over the events. And it just felt very Goodfellas-esque.
Yeah, I was a little bit off at the beginning because I didn't know how the pacing was going to be.
Yeah.
Because first you get into Austin Butler's character, his introduction, and they return to that scene again, of course. But you see his introduction, then they cut to his wife, played by Jodie Comer. Her name's Kathy. And then she goes into interview territory, and I'm thinking, oh, is it going to be like the whole way through? Is it going to be
Yeah.
on and off? I was a little confused because of how it was going to be handled in terms of runtime and everything.
Also, the beginning threw me off a bit too. Like Austin Butler's introduction,
Yeah.
I felt like they were really just trying to make him this like
Bad boy?
the literally me.
Oh,
character.
literally
Like,
me, yeah,
they're
yeah.
like trying to make him this bad boy,
Yeah.
this cool, relatable guy, and they're holding on the shots for way too fucking long
Oh,
to
yeah.
the point where I kind of laughed at some of them. Like they looked a little silly to me.
Yeah.
I don't think you had to shove it down our throats like that. And I was worried that it was gonna be this very like cliche bad boy story.
Right.
It wasn't.
No.
It got, there was more to that unfolds in the story, and I think by the end I completely forgot about that. But that was like a worry in the beginning. I'm like, where is this like?
Another thing that like at first I didn't know how I felt about, but Tom Hardy and Jodie Comer's accents. At the beginning, I didn't. I figured the other day, Nathan, like, they kind of talk like this the whole fucking movie. And you think to yourself, am I going to be super annoyed by it?
Especially Tom Hardy. He toes the line here.
Donald Duck.
You fucking, I'm part of the bike club, guys. What the fuck is up here?
And it's like, hey, Donald, I didn't know you had a motorcycle club.
That's so fucking funny. I think Tom Hardy toes the line here of a great performance and what the fuck are you doing?
It reminds me of like his subtle performances in movies like I always think Warrior. I always think The Dark Knight Rises. He's great in that.
Fantastic.
And then I think of his worst performance as Al Capone.
Where
Yeah.
he like talks like this the entire fucking
Yeah.
time.
And I'm thinking, oh my god, I think I'm gonna have a headache. It's an in between, in my opinion.
He's really towing the line here. I think it works.
Yeah.
It's definitely a choice. He leans into it really heavy, but I think he plays it straight the whole way through.
Yes.
And also his character is quite likable.
Yeah.
There's
think
qualities
so.
about him that I think are inherently likable. So it doesn't become annoying. It just becomes like a funny kind of guy you like.
Yeah, if this performance was in a completely different type of movie, like, I don't know, because of the fact that this is reminding me a lot of early Scorsese, even Donnie Brasco, like a movie like that, I'm kind of fine with this performance.
Yeah.
If this was in a more serious film, and when I mean by serious is like, more grounded, darker,
Yeah.
the accent would stick out more.
I agree.
But I feel like because of the pacing, because of the narration, because of how it's all put together, I think it works.
It's a little less serious. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
It's definitely that's kind of the appeal of him running this club. To me, it's like he's this menacing guy at times. Like he does have scenes where he's quite menacing.
Right.
And there's some memorable lines that he delivers. Like I think knives or fists.
Oh,
Like
that's a
when-
great callback.
like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a
yeah.
great callback when they do that twice. Like I
Yeah.
thought those scenes really show him being menacing.
Yeah.
But also he's like kind of stupid.
I think they're all stupid, which is why I don't think of it as a super serious film.
Yeah, he's kind of stupid. I think the accent plays into that. Like
Yeah.
this guy is not the brightest, you know?
Well, yeah, like Scorsese characters, especially in the 90s, they're not known for their cleverness.
Yeah.
Like when you think Henry Hill, you think this guy's so fucking stupid.
Yeah,
He doesn't listen to De Niro at all or fucking the other guy too. It's just like, and it reminded me of this where it's like Benny, his wife is telling him, don't do this. Like, you have a broken ankle. Like, what the fuck are you doing riding a bike? He's like, it's my life. I gotta ride a bike every day and stuff. And then Tom Hardy's like provoking him. He's like, well, you gotta get on your bike. It's
Yeah.
like, why? Like, you're fucking dumb. You
So
guys.
he's like Benny's just like annoying dumb, like just wants to get killed.
Yeah.
But Tom Hardy has this charm to him in this movie that I really like. I think
His turn as a character, like I like the second half of the film where he realizes, oh fuck, I can't get back. I can't go back from this because they got new recruits and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's just like this is getting out of hand.
yeah, it's really cool to see this like guy who started this being like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. Did it remind you of Carlito's Way a bit?
For sure.
I love that movie too. I know like we're referencing a bunch of these movies, but it's for good.
I
It's-
thought
it's the
about
positive.
Carlito's Way in the theater while I'm watching it. I was
Especially
thinking
the
about
young
Carlito's
kid.
Way. Yes.
Fucking Leguizamo, Benny Blanco,
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah, literally that
exactly.
scene.
That
Yeah.
is literally Benny Blanco. When he walks in there, he's like, "I want my membership."
Yeah.
Like, okay, he's gonna diss him, and it's gonna come back to haunt him at the end.
Yeah, which it does,
Which it
and
does.
and I love that. It's very. I don't know why. I after seeing Bad Boys in this film, it's like we're in the summer of '95, man. Like all these movies.
kinda like it.
I love it. No,
I love '90s movies.
I'd rather this than whatever the fuck is like cool now. Like this.
Yeah.
This to me has patience. That's another
Yeah.
thing too. This movie, like, what was the runtime? Like 2 hours. Perfect. I think like it might startle you at first because you're like, oh wow, like a lot of narration, a lot of Mike Fast's character. Which I think if I had to pick one little nitpick from this movie, it's his character. I didn't really get a lot out of him. He was just kind of there. He's just like, oh yeah, interviewing stuff. I would have wanted more from him. Like, how did he feel about it? How he going more into it?
That's a very fair point. What do we know about him? Absolutely,
He's just an interviewer,
nothing.
photographer,
He's a generic interviewer, and they got a good actor to do it.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if he like showed some feeling.
No, literally. He was just, and that's another thing too. It's like, would it have been better if they cut his character out entirely and just like cut to like Jodie Comer in the 70s, like talking about it, like looking at the camera type of thing?
Like Irishman kind of with the old De Niro kind of telling the story. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
because of how disposable the character
Yeah.
is. Like, it's like if they had an interviewer for The Irishman, it's like, what the fuck are they doing here?
Yeah.
There really isn't. There doesn't need to be one. That's the only thing that really stuck out to me because he just kept asking questions. I'm just like, I don't really feel much for
I
him.
mean, yeah, I guess they were, trying to keep it true to the book and how it was
Fair.
really put together. But also, if you're gonna do that, I feel like give them something.
Yeah. Another nitpick I would say is I wanted more from specific characters. Like, this has an all-star cast. I'm looking at a lot of these actors and stuff.
Yeah.
And Michael Shannon's in this. Mm-hmm. And I feel like he's in it for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
He's fucking great in it. He's like, he looks like fucking a crackhead at the gas station type of vibes. I love that.
He's such a fun character.
We know a little bit about his past. I love that he brings it up. He's like talks about his brother and stuff and like who he was.
That was such a good scene.
Yeah.
I remember thinking like, oh, this movie's actually well written. Like,
Oh, yeah.
That was the scene where I was like, oh, they're not just making this like surface level motorcycle movie here.
No.
that scene was really good.
Really well put together.
And just what he stands for as a character. He's like, I don't remember what he calls like regular people.
Oh yeah, the terminology and stuff like
The
that.
terminology
It's like,
was
yeah,
real
he's like
cool.
fucking schoolboys or whatever.
Picos or whatever.
Yeah.
Something like that, right?
Mhm.
And he's always like, you know, I ain't never scared of work. I ain't never scared of work with my hands.
Yeah.
And then, he goes into that thing about his brother. And I thought that was an excellent scene. And I think all the scenes where they're hanging out at the picnic
Yeah.
or just together talking are excellent. There's memorable characters that have 5 minutes of screen time
Yeah.
in this movie.
It's really good. And the point of this movie too is like people are going to be like, well, you know, this biker culture club is like, how do they make money? You know, they have all this stuff, all this, and I'm just thinking like, well, they do illegal shit.
Yeah.
That's what I like about it. It's like that's all they do. It's like Goodfellas. It's like how do they operate their business? It's like, well, it's simple. It's just they steal shit, they burn places down. It's like
Yeah.
It's very much Scorsese inspired where you don't have to over explain all of this shit because you as an audience member just know. You know what this culture is like. You know what this group of people do. And you don't really need to see every single detail. What matters is the characters.
Yeah.
What the fuck are these characters?
That's right.
The guy from Logan, Boyd Holbrook. I've seen him in so many fucking movies. He's amazing in this too.
Yeah.
Wish I saw more of him in this as well. He seems like very much a side character. Him and Michael Shannon like are in it a little bit. Would have wanted more of them. Especially Norman Reedus. I didn't know at first if it was the guy from Walking Dead. But then I looked closer, I was like, that is him.
Yeah.
That motherfucker's really good in this film too.
There's a lot of just good supporting performances.
Yeah.
Who plays the guy who is it Norman Reedus who plays the guy who comes from California?
Yeah, man.
It is, right?
Right?
Yeah.
I was impressed because I was like, I don't think I've seen him in a big movie in theaters. He's always felt like a TV guy because of, well, I guess the typecast of him in The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
What's his
yeah.
character name in Walking Dead? I don't know. He's got the
I
arrow.
don't know.
He's the
but
cool guy.
Yeah, he's the cool guy.
Yeah.
But just like real memorable scenes, like when he comes in, they fight, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about chilling with you guys for a while."
Yeah,
Like,
man.
It's like, what the
But
fuck?
it's this nice scene where it's just like, why'd you come here? And it's like, oh, because Cal,
Yeah.
I was supposed to kill him. It's like, are you going to? It's like, nah,
He's like, "Nah, I like you
I
guys."
like you guys.
And like after they just fought, and it's just funny. Like they just shed light on how silly this shit is. You know?
I don't know if they were going for anything deeper in terms of relationships, but how did you feel about the Johnny, Kathy, Benny triangle? Because there was something there. Did you notice that?
There 100% was
Yeah.
something there, and I feel like they made a point to like when Kathy first comes to meet Benny to harp that Johnny was interested.
Yeah.
Right? He was the first one that was interested. But they don't explore it in the middle ever.
Because there's little moments where they do. Of obviously they don't spell it out, but I always felt like Johnny and Kathy, whenever they talked, it was kind of like, well, Johnny's with me, and she's like, well, like he's my, we're married.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but like he's part of the biker gang. She's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like it was this weird like tension, especially at the part where Johnny wanted Benny to be like the head. Mm-hmm. He's like, I want you to be the new Don, basically,
Yeah.
of the biker club. And Benny's like, I'm not too sure and stuff. And like, it's weirdly like close. It's very
Yeah.
intimate in that moment, and then they just go back to the
That's
fight.
right.
So I'm just thinking like, where were they building up with that? You know, because like going into spoilers, you know, you find out that Johnny, during the later years, the younger people get to him.
Yeah.
The guy gets him. He's like,
Benny
"Knife."
Blanco got his revenge.
Benny Blanco got his revenge. He shoots him, and
Which
Benny,
was a good scene too.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
I
very
fucking
good
loved
scene.
it. The scene there and before that scene where he talks to Kathy, it's like he's very casual.
That was a good scene too.
Yeah.
It was very casual, but
Mm-hmm.
also his performance was kind of like very subtly like a man that knows like his future, like this could be his last day, you know?
Yeah. Again, I know we've referenced so many fucking movies, but it reminds me of like Donnie Brasco, where Pacino's like grabbing he takes his ring off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And his wife is like, "What are you doing?" And he's like so casual about it. Because that's the reality, is that whenever you're like in the face of death, or like you're going to be, you're just casual. You're like, I'm gonna get some eggs. Bye. And
Yeah.
then he gets shot. And I was like, that's a really well done scene.
I had a lot of that here.
Yeah.
Like, this movie doesn't reinvent the wheel by any means.
No.
but like you said, rips off Scorsese in the good ways.
Very, very good in my opinion. Like obviously because it rips off a lot of Scorsese moments, the best version of this was Scorsese.
Sure.
Like if you want to look at the top of the top, Goodfellas is the best of this.
100%.
But whenever I see a movie attempt to do it and they do it right, it's good. Like
It's good.
I would highly recommend this film.
Also, I thought like as like a period piece, like it looked really good.
Yeah.
Like it looked like the 60s. It looked like the 70s. Everyone was dressed accordingly. The
yeah.
bikes were accurate. Everything was accurate.
Yeah, production design 10 out of 10. Props,
Very,
everything,
very
clothing. Yeah. I got to give credit there because the budget was 40 million, which relatively is really hard to make period pieces. The more we get into the 2020s, the 2030s, it's like how many films set in the 60s and 50s are we going to have?
Yeah.
And it's going to be cheap. It's very, very minimal in my
Yeah.
opinion. So really well done there too.
Really well done.
I love Cockroach.
Cockroaches.
That guy's fucking awesome. That's the thing. Like I'm just thinking of specific characters. Like it's a very Scorsese film where you get Cockroach, the guy Big Jack.
Yeah.
Big Jack. I've seen him in a ton of stuff too. A lot of character actors.
Character actors that absolutely nailed their roles here.
Yeah.
The supporting cast makes it very memorable and I think makes it rewatchable too.
I think so too.
I think this is a very rewatchable film. I think I'll probably see it again someday.
Definitely trying to get this on Blu-ray or something like that.
I think it's really that good, and it's really not. I haven't seen anybody really talking about this movie.
No, it sucks too because I think this premiered at a festival a year ago. So this did come out a
Okay.
year ago. So maybe that's why it wasn't making as much money because the marketing was slightly in the festival run, and then they put a little bit of money
Yeah.
during the theatrical, and then it's like 2 weeks later. It's like actually it's on VOD streaming.
I could see this movie doing well on streaming if it goes to the right service.
I don't know if it's HBO Max or Amazon, but if it's on any of those streaming platforms, I would highly recommend people see it.
If it goes to the right service, I think it could do really well because I think this type of movie appeals to a really wide audience of people.
Absolutely.
Like, I think most people will watch this movie and have something that they like from it. Whether it's the funny characters, whether it's the story, whether it's like the cool aesthetic of that 60s motorcycle club. And
Yeah.
there's a lot to like about this movie.
Oh yeah, like how many motorcycle films do you really know aside from Easy Rider? It's very hard to get. Yeah.
I don't know any. You know?
Yeah, aside from
Aside from Easy Rider,
Easy
for
Rider.
sure.
Can't think of a lot. But I mean, like this guy, director Jeff Nichols, like he hasn't directed a film since 2016, 2017. So it's a big hiatus.
What else has he done?
He's worked with Michael Shannon a lot. So movies like Take Shelter, Midnight Special, a lot of indie films. This guy has worked
Yeah.
on a lot of indie films. Mud, I don't know if you heard of that one with Matthew McConaughey. A lot of these are very like critically acclaimed films, but they're very different from the Bikeriders. That's the thing that I really respect out of this was he took a chance with the style and made something completely different than what he's done in the past. And that's something I really respect from filmmakers nowadays. But yeah, he's worked with Shannon a lot, which makes sense why Michael Shannon has a brief cameo in this, to say
Yeah.
the least. But yeah, you get to see Austin Butler and Tom Hardy still act really, really great. Like,
Really good.
I don't know, like, going back to like the stars, like, yeah, I guess this wasn't enough for viewers. Or maybe it was just bad timing.
I don't know what it is. To me, this movie I didn't think this movie was gonna be a top 5 highest grossing film of the year.
I didn't think it was gonna make 100 million. No.
But I thought it was gonna make its money back. Like
Yeah.
Austin Butler, Tom Hardy, the bike thing was cool, refreshing. Like you said, this is not a premise we've seen. Like the motorcycle stuff does. It's not like there's a motorcycle movie coming out every year. It
No.
doesn't happen.
No.
And it just looked cool. I don't know. I thought the trailer was good. I thought everything about the promo was good. The stars don't sell, I guess. I really thought Austin Butler was going to take this one to another level.
I think it was marketing and timing, in my opinion, because like you get Inside Out 2. Inside Out 2 made $130 million fucking dollars domestic opening weekend.
That's insane.
So when you like try to compete with that, you
Yeah.
compete with a Pixar branded sequel. You're thinking like, man, I think it's just bad timing and everything like that. I think it would have worked better in streaming though.
Yeah.
Because it's like cinematography too, man. This movie looks great.
It's good.
The movie looks really fucking good.
Definitely some standout shots and
Yeah.
just beautiful cinematography throughout. Real consistent and real felt perfect for the time.
Yeah, no, exactly. I
Yeah.
fully agree because like you look at the Bad Boy sequel, you said that camera kept moving and stuff.
Yeah.
This one, quite the opposite.
No, felt like that 90s
Yeah.
style, you know, a lot of like locked off. If the camera's moving, it's moving slowly.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of locked off shots, a lot of wide shots.
Yeah.
Real classic way.
Simple shots like
Yeah.
Austin Butler on his bike and like the bike stops at the beginning. Remember, he's like chased by the cops and then he runs out of gas. It's like that whole setup. It's like they cut to a wide and he's like just
Beautiful.
standing there.
Yeah, some of the visual storytelling is so good. Like even when he pulls up to Kathy's house and just parks the bike.
I
there.
love that scene.
That's an excellent scene. Doesn't talk, doesn't say a word, just out there smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
And then they just cut to the shot of like 50 cigarette butts on the floor, and you're like, oh, he's been here all fucking day.
Yeah. And of course, there are subtle changes with what this film does compared to Scorsese copycats or films from the 90s where it doesn't use so much recognizable music from the era.
No.
It does it occasionally, but for the most part, I remember its quiet scenes.
Yeah, very sparingly. Yeah. The score was not a standout here.
No.
Music, I don't remember.
No.
I remember the characters. I remember the funny dialogue.
And it doesn't have to be. That's what I like most
Yeah.
about it. But yeah, again, if you get to see this in theaters, we highly recommend it, even though it's only going to be in theaters for like 2 more fucking weeks.
Yeah, I gotta say, this movie has the Real Talk stamp of approval. It's a really solid movie.
Yeah.
If you can catch it in theaters, like you're gonna like it. I'm telling you, you're gonna
Yeah.
like it. It's one of those that I'm not split. I'm not like maybe you're gonna like.
Give
this
it some
movie.
time. Yeah.
Give it a
Have
chance.
patience.
Give it a chance. I would say try and see it in the theaters so it doesn't make $5. And because I want Jeff Nichols to make another movie. He wasn't on my radar before. He definitely is now.
Yeah. His earlier work too. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely on my radar now, and I'll definitely be looking out for his next project. But I'm gonna give the Bikeriders 3.5 stars all day, all day. This is a really solid film. Again, I'm a sucker for crime dramas.
Yeah.
Again, we're comparing this film to fantastic films like Goodfellas, Casino, Carlito's Way. It's not that.
No.
But it's an homage to those films, done tastefully, done really well, and it's a rewatchable film. Very happy with it.
I fully agree too. I mean, I'm probably going to give it the same rating too, 7 out of 10, 3.5 out of 5. It's solid enough. It might not be the best film I've seen this year, but it doesn't have to be.
No.
And it's so fucking refreshing that we get a film that feels like it came out like 25 years ago.
Love that this film is getting made in 2024.
Yeah.
I love it.
Despite its unfortunate box office returns, I hope more films become like this because at a certain point, that genre of movies that we always talk about, the cape shit, it's gonna slow down. I think it has been slowing down, and when it does, another genre is gonna take its place, and I certainly hope it's this.
I hope so too. But that's why we gotta champion these movies. We gotta go see these ones, man. Power in the people,
Yeah,
Get to the theater. Come on.
I'm just saying. I fully agree.
Yeah.
So,
All
yeah.
right, we'll end it up there. Thank you for watching this episode of the Real Talk podcast. Let us know your rating of the Bikeriders in the comments below. And most importantly, take care. Rush your hair. Peace.